about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s. In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats, as President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act. I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain when in reality it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black...
You heard that? She said welfare has decimated the black family. Decimated it. What happens is, because it's easy to persuade women, because I tell you guys, they weak, they dumb. You can easily get them to do. A lot of you guys running around here and you call me up talking about some, yo man, I met her after 2 weeks. I got her pregnant and she's having a baby. A lot of you guys claim you're good at these chicks when in fact they're gonna get dick anyway. They're gonna slob on it, they nasty. But whenever you want to destroy something, you destroy it at its weakest point. You look through history, all you have to do is tell black women the man is going to be the benefit of all the hurt and pain. It's going to happen. It's the reason why, like I tell you guys today, I don't speak to my mom, and I never will. I could care less about her. People, I don't do stress. All right, so I'm gonna let her continue.
Black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
All right, so there's a lot of people out there that heard some information about what that woman said and don't know it. So it is what it is. People, every night at 8 p.m. I do a live stream over on Dad's Treated for Child Support. That link is below the video. Of course, individuals here, that link is below the video. I see that I have a 7 count. I see I have 4 thumbs up right now. I got more than that, more people than that watching. Now remember, always to watch me is $1. I charge $1 to watch me. However, you can waive that fee if you just hit that thumbs up button, right? But if not, if you got dollars to give, I appreciate it. I don't hate it. You can hit the super chat, be a super chat cat. You can hit the Cash App, be a Cash App coolie. All information is below the video. Now, let me jump into this by saying this. When we look at because like I told you guys, and I'm not talking about none of you guys. I'm talking about people that I know. So I'm not talking about y'all when I talk about politics. I know more about politics than anybody I know. It ain't even close. I know more about politics. I probably forgot more about politics than, unfortunately, everybody I know combined that they know. It's that, the difference is that substantial. If you could, listen, emotional will have you void of the truth. If you are emotional, you want nothing to do with the truth. Let me say that again. If you're emotional, you want nothing to do with the truth. Here's why you guys keep thinking women want to hear the truth. They rather you lie to them. Lie to women and you can be successful with them. But emotional is void of truth. So when I talk to people, I often get the, I don't ever want to talk to him again. I get the situation with my mother and I speak the truth about how I'm living and what I'm going through, and my mom don't want to have nothing to do with it because it's like, you're not going to talk about women like that, right? So, truth. But because, so let's look at it like this. Come at it like this. I carry a gun all the time. People that are victim of gun violence, they are the ones rallying down in gun things saying that we need gun control. They was on the unfortunates on the back end of some hideous and heinous crime. You would agree with that, yeah? Same perspective and narrative with the Democrats. With the Democrats, they are as advertised. What we've seen and what the great President Donald Trump is uncovering with the Democrats now is not a surprise to me. Number one. Number two, historically, there is nothing historically good that the Democrats ever did. Nothing. Now, a lot of individuals think, and it's crazy. A lot of people think that things change. In politics, parties don't change. Agendas stay the same. They roll over and adapt to the times. So what we just heard was the history of the Democrats. And the history of the Democrats, they voted against everything for against slavery. They voted everything against civil rights. They voted against everything. But black folks today will say, well, I have a need. And because I have a need, I'm going to exempt them from their history. You got a 500 credit score. Go try to buy a Mercedes-Benz and see if they exempt you from your credit history. You ever see a mentally challenged person in uniform? The military got a history of only assigning up people that are in perfect health. An air traffic controller. One of the things to get the job to be an air traffic controller is you must have perfect vision. You ever see an air traffic controller with glasses on? You probably seen it with goggles on, but you've never seen an air traffic controller wearing glasses. If you got bad vision, you can't be an air traffic controller. Historically, that has been their stance. I don't think it's going to change. History. What I find amazing, I really do. What I find it amazing is that because the Democrats will stand there and say, we're going to promise the blacks a welfare program. We're going to promise the blacks. Wars have been won simply by giving stuff away. Not tanks rolling up on the shores. You simply roll up on the shore of a country and say, hey, we got clean water, we got blankets, sound familiar, and you can take over a country. That method has been in play against black people by Democrats for the longest. The black community was doing just fine before welfare. We didn't need it. But they created welfare, and welfare is a drug. You create a safety net for somebody, their potential will not go beyond it. Let me say that again. You create a safety net for somebody, their potential will not go beyond it. Not maybe, it won't go beyond it. You ever wonder why? You ever pull up to a gas station? You ever pull up to a red light and there's a bus stop and you see a woman with like 4 kids at the bus stop? And you say to yourself, it costs more to take care of one of those kids than it costs this car. How did you end up with all them kids and you got to take a bus? You ever thought about that? Kids are expensive, both in time and in money. In time, they suffocated. Money, not so. But you'll look at a woman and she'll say, you know what? I'm cool. I'm going to keep spitting these things out. And I ain't got a car. You ever see that? Excuse me. You ever see that? Of course you have. However, if you told me that the election was tomorrow, and if you told me that there was a white man running with a Klan uniform on, I would say, damn, them Democrats is thorough. They getting straight cheeky with it. Then you say, no, he's a Republican. I'm still voting for him. You heard what I said? Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? You didn't hear what I said? I said, if you tell me there's a man wearing a Ku Klux Klan uniform running for president, first thing I'm going to say is, damn, them Democrats is coming out the closet. And you say, no. He's running for the Republican Party. I'm still voting for him. And I bet you're wondering why. Yeah, you're wondering why? Because one day you dumb black folks are going to wake up. One day you dumb black folks are going to wake up. One day you y'all some dumb, because one day you dumb black folks are going to wake up and realize it ain't the person, it's the party. This is why all you dummies thought that President Obama was going to do something for you as a Democrat. So, if historically Democrats never did something for us, and historically Republicans did, they stopped slavery. As a matter of fact, they was only formed with one goal, to end slavery. So yeah, these white guys got together and said, hey, this is not right. We got to end this slavery. 200 years later, you guys are now calling these people racist, and you run into the individuals that started the party to keep the noose around your neck. You cannot argue this with me. You can go ahead and come under my comments and say this and that. You can't but this. You can't say Trump this and that. You can't say nothing. What's trumped is the stupidity, the hold that stupidity have on you. If anything you say to me about Trump, that's what you need to say to me. If you say, yeah, but President Trump, say no. What's trumped is the hold that stupidity have on me. That's what's trumped. I'm not trying to hear nothing about President Donald Trump. Not trying to hear nothing about that bad. I'm not trying to hear it. Not trying to hear nothing. Not trying to hear it. I want y'all to listen to something. If I can bring it up. I hope I can bring it up. These people are running scared. Oh, here we go. Listen to this.
We don't have inflation because the people are living too well. We have inflation because the government is living too well. And the last statement, just a few days ago, was a speech to the effect that we have inflation because government revenues have not kept pace with government spending. I see my time is running out here. I'll have to get this down very fast. Yes, you can lick inflation by increasing productivity and by decreasing the cost of government to the place that we have balanced budgets and are no longer grinding out printing press money, flooding the market with it because the government is spending more than it takes in. And my economic plan calls for that. The president's economic plan calls for increasing the taxes to the point that we finally take so much money away from the people that we can balance the budget in that way. We will have a very poor nation and a very unsound economy if we follow that path.
That was the great Republican Ronald Reagan back in the 80s. When I say you end up, and did you see Democrat president? Yeah, he was the president at that time. Did you see Democratic President Jimmy Carter just looking at him? That man is dropping science. Damn. What we see with Democrats is the same thing, wash, rinse, repeat. Tax the people, give it away, cycle some of it off, do it again. It's the same thing over and over again. I'm trying to tell you, that was Ronald Reagan in the 80s. I'm gonna play this again so y'all can come up to speed.
When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats.
Always.
But this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s.
I want to be clear about something. When a black person thinks of racism, there is no grander picture than the Ku Klux Klan. Why is that? Because they was the Democratic Party's B-side. Yeah, they were their B-side. It is amazing. I'm going to have to ask you guys to give me a second. Can I go left for a second? Can I go left for a second? I can go left for a second. Allow me to go left for a second. Y'all know I do this from time to time, and I apologize. Let me go left for a second. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again on the day. We are all recipients of information. The frequency shoots out over the world, and as an electrical charge, you receive the information. If you like it, it will appear. I am at the point in my life today when I've realized what somebody told me I think I was 13, over 40 years ago. No, this was I think I said I was about 13, but I remember now. Excuse me. I was about 25 or 26, 'cause I was 26. I bought my first house at 26. I was 26. It was the guy, the realtor. And I told him my plan for real estate. And he told me at that time, he said, and I quote, "If somebody don't understand you, it's because they don't like you." I've never heard nobody talk like you before. He was like 50. He said, "I've never heard nobody talk like you before. If they don't understand you, it's because they don't like you." I'm now comfortable with that narrative, and at 56 years old, I'm comfortable to the point where I reversed it. I don't want to like nobody. I get it. You're living more on the mortal side. You're reckless. You run the church as some formality to trying to exist on a higher plane to present this image that you are, and you're not. I need y'all to follow me. I navigate myself around now, and I realize, and I tell everybody who heard me say it, you will only have problems with people beneath you. Sad to say it, but we are all not the same. Yes, there are some people that are better than others. You're looking at are better than other. I'll take that. You often hear people say nobody's perfect. But what happens to those that strive for perfection? I mean, after all, a pitcher can pitch a perfect game. Yeah? A pitcher can pitch a perfect game. The Yukon Huskies can go the whole season and not lose a game and have the perfect season. So that word perfect exists, but I can't use it? Bring it on over here. I'm a perfect specimen for the order of good. I'm not involved, don't want to be involved with, but I realize that in order to exist, I got to add some stuff into my life that I'm not trying to be down with, man. I'm not trying to be down with it. Yeah, I need y'all to follow me. I'm not down with stress at all. I'm not down. Listen, my BMW 6 Series, I brought that car in 1989. It's 2025. The car was 3 years old when I got it. It's an up north car, so it got rust on it. Rust then came and just came in the car. I took it to one guy. He said, you might not be able to recover the chassis on this car. It's just too much rust. This is an up north car. Of course, I brought it. I was living in Jersey. The car is sitting in the storage right now along with the 850. I got a double long. The 850 and the 6 Series are back to back. Both of those cars are sitting in there with full coverage insurance on it with a $500 deductible. You know why? Because if anything happened to those cars, I'm not trying to hear no stress about you didn't have and this and that. They're not. Full coverage on everything. Every car I own. No stress. This house has 3 insurance policies on it. I got an insurance policy covering the pipes from the curb to the house, under the house, and then the house itself. 3 different policies. I don't want to worry about nothing. My happiness, harmonious. I'm not inviting a woman in my life that thinks that, oh, now I'm in. If you're having a bad day, it's going to get worse if you fuck with me. I don't coddle to bad days. I coddle to problems that we having. I cater to I don't cater to bad days. I don't care about what happened to you at work. You're not bringing it home to me. The person you love is not your emotional garbage can. So when I talk, I realize and now understand fully, and didn't realize it when I was younger, all my life, ain't nobody want to hear what I had to say. They ain't want to hear it. They ain't want to hear it. I found a video this morning. I'm going to end this segment with this. I found a video this morning of a woman that is 77 years old and live in her car, and she is just 77. She looks 77. She's not 77 and got a 50 look going on. She's 77 and looks 77. You know, I might bump up to 78. Like, take 78, bitch. Take that. You 78. You know. I cracked myself up. I told my mother, remember, when I was about 6 or 7 years old, Mom, I gotta start saving my money. She said, for what? I said, for when I get old. My mom looked at me like this. Boy, you got a whole life to live. What are you thinking about when you get old? I am old. Glad to be here. Knock on glass. Everything is all right. I did well. But I look across the horizon and I see individuals that, as I stated earlier, they're emotional, so they're void of truth. They want nothing to do with the truth. My bad. I'm going to let this lady continue.
In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery.
You hear that? The Republican Party was formed with a mission to stop slavery. You can't tell nobody that today. You can't tell them that. This is why I said, if a Ku Klux Klanman got on a Klan uniform and somebody said Klanman is running for president, I'm going to say, damn, them Democrats is coming out the closet. And he said, no, he's a Republican. I'm still voting for him. Because they take on what the party's agenda is, not the person. It may sound contradictory to you, but you may not be able to process that.
Into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln.
Remember the Civil War? This is where the perspective of 40 acres and a mule came from. The Democrats got us again, just straight, they had us like, go ahead. The Democrats came to the very people that they didn't want to give 2 cents about, because remember the Civil War, Democrats, Republicans, they came to the blacks and they said, hey, fucking nigger, I ain't gonna get your wife today, boy, but I tell you what, boy, I'll give you 40 acres and a mule, boy, you're fighting this war for us now, boy. And then I'll set you free and I'll give you 40 acres and a mule to work it. You'll give me that now, sir. Yes, I would there, boy. Yeah. You don't fuck my wife no more, sir? I won't put no more nuts in that damn white whore, that black whore. Okay, sir. All right, sir. And then we fought for him. Remember, Crispus Attucks was the first black dude to die in the Civil War. All right? So they said to do this. And we did it, and we never got our 40 acres and our mule. But they'll give us welfare. I'm sorry for banging y'all in the head. I'm off history right now. I'm going to let her keep kicking it.
The man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln.
Now understand what happened. Back in the 1800s, it was okay to have a Democratic president and a Republican vice president, or vice versa. So the Democrats wanted to keep slavery in effect. The Republicans didn't. The only flaw in history is that the Republican president, what's his name went there? Was it? Oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln, unfortunately, had a Democratic president. Vice president, excuse me. So he was a Republican president with a Democratic vice president. So when he said, we're gonna have this dude, we're gonna put 2 in the back of the head. Then everything went back to the Democrats. That's what the plan was. Keep kicking it, Miss Swaney.
It's planned to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South gave blacks the vote. They were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote.
Are you serious?
only because of the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All three passed only because of universal Republican support.
All these laws passed because of universal support by the Republicans. So I'm not talking to nobody that don't know me. I'm gonna be clear about what I'm about to do. This segment of what I'm about to say, I'm not talking to nobody that don't know me. Right now, I'm talking about everybody that know me personally, because I don't know if I got some individuals, they don't support me and everything, but I want them to be like, gee, I'm gonna stop in and see what Chris is talking about, and just happen to be this video. Because of what this woman is saying and how she has heightened my level of awareness when it comes to Democrats, it's the reason why when I post all that stuff on my personal Facebook, it's the reason why you thought the way you did. But you think the way you did because you was absolutely dumb as a brick, and still is dumb as a brick when it comes to politics, when it comes to me. I'm gonna let her finish up. I just wanted to put that little insert in there for anybody that actually know me personally. I'm talking about somebody that can just pick up the phone and be like, hey man, why did you say that about me in the video? I said it about you in the video because I meant it.
Era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat.
Remember, the Ku Klux Klan is the Democrats' B-side, all right? Just think of it as Lincoln Mercury, and then their B-side, Ford. Think of it as Cadillac, and their B-side is Chevy. Just think of it as Genesis, and then their B-side is Hyundai. They got one thing, then they got their little cheap, the cheap ones. It's think.
Nathan Bedford Forrest, as historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats. As President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act, I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years.
You heard that? He said, I'll have them voting Democrat for the next 200 years. How do they get our vote? Every year, the Democrats get together and say, we're going to promise you, we need to help single moms. I remember quite clearly when President first time, when 45, was battling Hillary Clinton. And then Trump laid down this beautiful sequelity. I think it was music. I think he should have put a beat with it. It would have been a number one hit. It would have been a number one hit on the inspiration chart, if there is one. I need y'all to follow me. And he laid down that thing, and the first thing when they handed the spotlight to Hillary Clinton, I'm I'm not paraphrasing because she said it, but I'm dramatizing it like I'm grabbing a microphone. This is going to be the microphone. And she's like, when Donald Trump did what he did, she was like, give me that microphone. She was looking at Donald Trump like, boy, that was good. She was looking at him like, and the words that came out of her mouth was the typical Democrat fluff and stuff. We got to do more to help the kids. Every Democrat go-to move is these black creatures and the little things that come out of their coochies. Yeah, you know, every time the Democrat, why you think Kamala Harris are pleading to black women by having a the big gorilla booty, I'm twerking at the Democratic National Convention. You putting twerking on your resume to be the president of the United States. Why? Because all these things appeal to women. Give me a second. I'm gonna let her finish.
So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down.
You heard what she said. She said Democrats claim that Republicans are the villain, when in fact, it is the failed policies of the Democrats that kept blacks down. Failed policies, we're glad they failed, okay? If they failed, we'd still be running around here talking about something, yes, sir, yes, sir. Oh, that's a nice car there. It don't make no noise, though. It's electric. It's a Tesla. Oh, they got electric cars now in 2025. I never thought I'd see that, sir. Get back to work, girl. That's what we'd be at. This is why I'm not trying to hear nothing. If I'm not trying to hear nothing about Donald Trump, I'm not trying to hear nothing about President Obama. I'm not trying to hear nothing about these people. I'm not trying to hear nothing. And I want to be clear. I voted for President Obama. Then I got educated, and I didn't vote for him the second time. I said, whoa. I was my understanding of politics didn't hit the upper threshold. Now I'm like, I look at Democrats now, I want to run back to 2008 and scratch my name off. They're like, yo, how did I do this? What the? I will never do it again. There's nothing you can say to me that'll make me vote for a Democrat. Nothing that'll make me vote for a Democrat. It's not happening. There's nothing. So when you think about Democrats, remember, she said the Democrats, it's because of their failed parties, but they want to failed policies, but they would like to run around and make all these claims. Oh, it ain't us. We want to help you. Of course you want to help me. You want to give me $2 and then give Ukraine $2,000. That's what the Democrats is all about. Historically, presently, and I don't got a crystal ball, but I'm quite sure it'll be this way in the future. I'll see you guys tonight, 8 o'clock. Dash Straight for child support. The link is below the video.